Hi, I'm Carrie Kirkham. Welcome to today's Mollie Stone's virtual wine tasting of Stags Leap Winery. Thank you so much for joining us. With us today, we have winemaker Christophe Paubert, as well as Jillian Balance, who is the National Education Manager for Treasury Wine Estates, as well as a master sommelier. We're going to taste 3 wines this evening, and we hope you enjoy. And so let's get started. And to you, Jillian.
Thank you, Carrie. And just want to thank everybody at Treasury, everyone at Mollie Stone's for putting together this fabulous tasting. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the wines. This will be an opportunity to taste alongside with a very, very talented winemaker, taste some excellent wines and kind of, I like to think that we are bringing a little bit of the Stags Leap District and the estate and the history into your homes this evening, and hopefully doing that by not just telling the stories, but by also having you taste the wines, which is great. I hope everybody has the wines set up, ready to go. Maybe you've been enjoying them already. Personally, I've had a little bit of Chardonnay prior to this. I know, Christophe, you're shocked by that, but this is truly one of my favorite wines in our portfolio. So yeah, we are just thrilled to be here again to kind of share the passion and the history behind this amazing estate. Christophe has been with Stags Leap Winery since 2009. So he pretty much has made Stags Leap Winery and the estate his home for over a decade and has many, many vintages under his belt. And I think the wines are a testament really to his passion for Stags Leap District, his dedication to making wines that are very profound, very elegant, very true to the varietal character, and not over oaking and doing all kinds of crazy things, which a lot of winemakers like to do. So I really appreciate that. The Stags Leap Winery was named top 100 wineries of the year in Wine and Spirits magazine, and we're thrilled to have that honor. It is truly a special place, but I'm not going to tell you the story of and the history of Stags Leap Winery. I'm going to let Christophe do that, and we have some wonderful, beautiful photographs that have been preserved over time. And I can't say enough great things also about visiting this property. And we hope that when travel restrictions ease up for everyone around the country or in California, that you do come to visit us in person, because there is nothing like seeing the Stags Leap Winery estate property and really diving into the history and getting a glimpse of what it was like to make wine and live in the Napa Valley in the late 1800s. It's just such a unique experience. That said, I'm going to turn it over to Christophe, and he will tell you a little bit about, well, Christophe, just give us a little bit about the history of the property and why it's so special and unique to you.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining. A shame you are not with me. I will show you maybe the view a bit later. I have a view here right now. It's sun setting. It's beautiful. And but we're open. We're open. You can come and have an appointment, and we will be happy to have you. So we are still running. So yeah, for me, you know, I am from Bordeaux, from France, and everything is about terroir, is about history, is about culture. And when I joined the company, the winery 12 years ago, honestly, I didn't know much. When they talked to me, I told them, you know, I know the name. I don't know really the wines. I can't make wine. I don't believe in it. They sent me a few samples, and I saw that the style was already what I liked. So I could join and continue, not to change everything. So and that's the thing that I am here to continue the story and the history, the legacy. I am just a steward here. I'm not here to change everything. And all started by the vineyard. That's everywhere where it should start with. It's a vineyard, and this vineyard was planted in the mid 1880s. And Horace Chase was looking for a place to build the house for his family. It was a wedding gift. Here it is. with the Mimi Mitzner, and he found the place beautiful. The vineyard was already there, which is interesting to know because it could be intimidating to start and to buy a place with a vineyard already planted when you don't know, but he was knowing because he was an investor in mining and he was an investor also in wine. He was part of the big winery for the time, 40,000 cases on Alexander Valley, which doesn't exist anymore. It was in wood, but he was already an investor in wine. So he could pick that the place was really unique. Something I like to say very often is I would love to see photos of the valley in the mid 1880s. We are one of the first, that was one of the first vineyard planted. And so we call it the small valley in the valley. I can show you through the window after that. You will see what I'm talking about. And so he wanted to find a name for this beautiful place. And he heard about a legend about Indians, the Wapos, that were hunting behind the winery. There is like 1,000 feet high cliff of basalt, which is very important to the appellation to do what we make. And the story was they were hunting a stag, and it was very elusive, and it became a legend. And he thought, oh, that's a very nice name. I am going to call my winery Stags Leap. You can see the first label, first bottle. It was 1893. Something the label hasn't changed much from then, but we changed the face of the stag because he was looking more like a dog than the stag actually. So we changed that a few years ago, but so it reproduces the legend of what created the name here. And he was they were very known. She was a very jet set person. She was the daughter of an ambassador of America for the South America, and for United States for South America, and he was a state senator, so very high profile. And they love to party in this beautiful mansion that you can see. We redid everything more or less a few years ago after the earthquake. We took advantage to, because we are close to redo the interior also, but really respectful to what it was. So they were throwing lots of parties. They knew how to live at that point. They had the tennis court, they had the swimming pool. People say it was the first concrete swimming pool in California. They had horses. So it was they had a beautiful life. So maybe they partied too much because in 1910, 1911, they went bankrupt. So we have a wine we call the Investor in the portfolio to in memory of what he was doing. But we should have another one that we should call the Bankrupt, because it is what it happened to him a few years later. So after that, the interesting thing is he sold everything, even the winemaking equipment. So when the bank actually got the winery, they sold that to a new family, the Grange family, who didn't make wine, but always, like people do nowadays, they were selling the fruit, and the vineyard has always been maintained and well cared all through the years. And they changed the purpose more or less of this big house that became a resort. And we had lots of cottages behind that were used for the worker building this manor house. And they transformed that in the bedroom, and the restaurant was in the big house, in the manor house where I am right now. And many stories, because there is too many stories actually. I wouldn't know where to start for an event like that. But in 1950, actually, they sold the winery to another family who didn't care about the house itself. They were still caring about the vineyard, but didn't care about the house. And it was more or less trashed for 20 years. And in 1970, an investor visited the property, Carl Domani. He wanted to restart the resort. And after purchasing it, he realized that the permit was only 10% per day, and he gave up on that. And he said, okay, I have a winery, very poor state, because there was not even a roof. It had burned many years ago. And I have the vineyard. I am going to restart all of that. And guess what? He fell in love with winemaking. He fell in love with different varieties, but he fell in love a lot with Petit Syrah. And because of his passion, he put Petit Syrah really on the map, and our name totally linked with Petit Syrah. So now we make more Cab than Petit Syrah, and we are already known for that, but we like to have this identity a bit different than the other property on the appellation of Petit Jura. You may know there is another Stags Leap in the area.
Never heard of it.
At the same time, more or less in 1971, Winiarski, a mile away, started a winery and thought, oh, it's a nice name. I'm going to call my winery Stags Leap. And that's the thing. I have to say, you may have not realized it was a commercial name, because for many years we were making wine. But guess what? The same year we had more or less 2 wineries with Stags Leap's name. So they were quite friends, respecting each other. But you know, what do you do in America when you're a friend? You sue each other. That keeps you busy. So they sued each other, and for the name of the winery, it was a 10 years case, 10 years. And after 10 years, the judge just decided to move the apostrophe, where S apostrophe, there apostrophe S. The story of the Stags Leap. We respect them a lot, because honestly, there is some confusion in the market, but it is a very strong brand name with lots of recognition of high quality wine. And behind that also, in 1987, there was a creation of the appellation of the AVA of Stags Leap. That was the 3rd one created in Napa. And again, very linked with high quality Cabernet, smallest AVA in the Napa Valley, only 17 growers. But it's the land, the whole valley is a land of Cab, but people usually say there is something about the Stags Leap AVA for the Cab.
But Christophe, wouldn't you agree? I mean, when we say we are the estate that established the district, I mean, we were the first.
Yes. Yeah, I don't go there myself.
Okay.
Because, I think, it's, you know, that's the thing about the appellation. We are a very small appellation. We are all together in it. And we will, even with the other winery, the other Stags, we will succeed together or fail together. So I don't try to be either one, you know me.
It's a great point. I just, I feel like, you know, the distinction for me is when I think of Stags Leap wine cellars, I'm only focused really on Chardonnay and Cabernet Sauvignon. Whereas when I look at the incredible portfolio of wines that you make, it's so interesting to have Chardonnay, Viognier, Sauvignon Blanc, Petit Syrah. I just think it's just so much more of of just a diverse portfolio of wines. It excites a sommelier for sure, because like a virtual wine dinner, it's like a dream come true for me to have all the different possibilities. But anyway, you explained that really beautifully and very diplomatically. But I just want to point out also, like, the Manor House, this is the, you know, we completed a restoration after the 2014 earthquake. This is where we host people every day, and completed in the late 1800s. So what a unique experience, not just for Napa Valley, but for California, for the United States to come and enjoy this and really soak in, like I said, all that history. Now, Christophe, is that in the upper left-hand corner, is that like an old advertisement for when Francis Grange owned this and kind of turned this into a bed and breakfast?
Which part, sorry?
The in the upper left-hand corner, is that kind of an advertisement for the property from the Grange era?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, an advertisement.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of archives. We had actually an historian working several years on gathering everything, trying to learn, to put a schedule of dates, what happened when. It was very interesting. There is lots of things that happened in this winery and its place. And as if the real story wasn't enough, people invent lots of things around it all the time. That is pretty funny, but yeah, a lot of history here, a lot.
Sure, and the Old Stone Winery that's on the left in the photo, the lower photo. Do you still make the estate wines?
Yes.
Old Stone. Okay, and is
Yes.
that keep that tradition alive and stay connected to the history through making the wines there? Because I know you have a more
Yeah, so
facility.
when I arrived, actually little of it's fine. I have another winery, but when I arrived, I said, okay, let's repurpose it to make mainly the estate wine, the cab, and we upgraded the equipment, and we just did a seismic retrofit to protect it because it is a jewel of the history of this place, like a manor house. Where lots of money right now, more than we thought actually, as usual. And we really take care of the place. That's the thing. My pleasure, beside making wine, is I manage the site, and the part of carrying the place is really great. It's really a fun project. And again, my goal when I leave is to leave it in a better shape than I got it. And that's the goal. So sometimes, of course, there is a bit of discussion of money involved to get it, but globally, we have done a lot of progress in this direction. Yeah, you can see the outline for this time. And
Yeah, I mean, the cars look different now, and so does the clothing. But if you looked at some of the pictures from the manor house today, it's so untouched and just really so well preserved for Napa Valley. So okay, so Christophe, we know that the Chase, Horace Chase planted, I think, over 100, did he plant 100 acres of vine?
yeah, at that point, because you may know also when Carl Domani sold the property in 1997, he kept 20%, 25% of it to create Quixote. So on the far side of the alley, you said, of the trees, you see on the far side is now our stag, but on the left side is Quixote, but this part was stags in the past. So it was around 115 acres, I think, at the beginning when he started it, and it's a beautiful place. You can see behind what we call the palisade. That's what I have to go through every morning to go to work. It sucks. No, it's really bad. And that the beauty of this place is every morning the light is different, the fog is different. It's really awesome, really awesome. And I have many photos. I like photography, and I have many photos of this place because it's always changing, and it's beautiful. But what the palisade you see behind, so where this photo is taken from, behind, I can show you that actually. That's the little hill you have in the other side over there. That's at the corner over there. I don't know if you can see correctly.
Beautiful.
It was very small. It was very small. Yeah. So this little valley in the valley where I am, I don't see myself anymore. It's stuck. Do you hear me at least?
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah.
Okay, but the video is stuck now, which is good. You don't see me. It's perfect.
Yeah, no worries. I think you might have cut out for a second.
Oh no.
He'll get back on. He was trying to show everybody this view, and I'm sure that once he gets back on, he can.
That's in the afternoon. Say the reason why the appellation was created. We had a seminar last year with a lawyer that helped build the case for the creation of the appellation. That was great to be in contact with him and to have him explain the whole process, the ethnography, and this funnel of these two little valley is what is the base of the creation of the appellation.
Yeah, and you can see too kind of that fog encroachment because Stags Leap District is in the southern end of the valley, and it really does remind you that Napa is very small, but really diverse, right? Specifically when you're talking about the Stags Leap District. But I think, and Christophe, you could correct me if I'm wrong, today we have about 85 or 90 estate acres planted here, which is an enviable amount, just because of the size of Stags Leap district itself. We feel, I think, it's just such a great proposition to have this beautiful estate with all the history and the amount of acreage that we do. And this is another, so Christophe, I just switched the slides to another, just kind of a picture of it's
another part behind. You can really see the basalt with the heat of the sun on it. It's exactly what I was. And we have, that's not the highest cliff. We have even higher cliff. And something which is awesome in winter, we have a wine called 12 Falls, which is a blend of all the varieties of the estate. And in winter, when it rains 4 inches of rain in very quick time, we have 12 waterfalls behind the winery falling from this cliff, and one of them may be like 600 feet high. But they come and go in hours. They can come one morning. You come 2 or 3 days, and the morning and they have disappeared. That's pretty cool.
Such a beautiful scene. Okay, so we're just going to talk a little bit about the significance of the Necade-Mollie block, which is actually a vineyard, a pretty small 5-acre vineyard that you see right when you enter onto the property, where we showed that driveway of those dramatic black walnut trees. It's just to the right there, and I think is very significant to the history and the estate itself. But for me, the main excitement really is how old the vines are, and also that you can kind of see what viticulture looked like back in the late 1800s or early 1900s, prior to more advanced kind of training and trellising systems. This was, just put it in the ground and let it sprawl. This is the California sprawl, and it's a really unique vineyard that I will let Christophe kind of speak to a little bit.
Yeah, the interesting part is that it was planted in 1929. I guess you know a story better than me of the America of the country. It was prohibition. And I was very surprised about that until someone explained me that during prohibition, you had wineries making wine for the church, like Beringer actually, and Beringer and BV. But you couldn't buy anything with alcohol in it, but you could make your own wine. Each family, each household could make 3 barrels of wine. And so people were making wine. The wineries were out of business, but the people who could sell the fruit were in business and were actually shipping fruit everywhere. I guess sometimes it was arriving already fermented in the other side of the country, but so that's explained why even in 1929 people were still planting vineyard during prohibition. And what is very special about this wine, as you mentioned, the age of the vines, and the fact also it's Petit Syrah, but it's a field blend. I don't know if everybody heard about what is a field blend. Normally I blend wine with different lots, different blocks, different varieties once a wine is made. This block, there is around 85% is Petit Syrah, and the 15% left are made by 16 other varieties. And so they are like salt and pepper spread totally randomly in the vineyard. We know exactly what vine, what is the variety of each vine, but we harvest everything at once. It's why we call it field blend, and we make 1 tank. It's small, we make only 1 tank, around 500 cases, an average. And so, but the thing, it's Caldomani many years ago now asked the University Davis to come, and it's when they did this research about ampelography. Ampelography is the art of recognizing a vineyard, a vine, through the shape and the size of the shape of the leaf, the shape and the size of the berries, and the apex, the tip of the shoot that is growing gives you a lot of information. And some of them, they couldn't reach to this conclusion, and they went to the genetic to do genetic analysis to know what vine was a variety. And we have a map now, we know exactly, and when they get too old, when we have to pull them out, we replace them exactly by the same variety to keep the legacy that was given to us.
Now, Christophe, I've heard that there are 2 vines out there that are untraceable, unidentifiable origins.
Yeah, there is what they call table wine. I don't know what it is. And yeah, I'm not surprised. And it was the way it was done at this point. They were mixing everything. Someone told me that a lot of Petit Syrah were used to make ports actually also. So it's why when I heard that we make a port here now, an estate port also, which is very fun. I had never done that before coming here. So yeah, it's but the difficulty is to keep all the berries on the muscat because it tastes so good. Everybody is trying to find them and to eat them. But yeah, the varieties are pretty heterogeneous. You don't understand. There is all the Côte d'Aron, which makes sense, even if Petit Syrah is not really actually a Côte d'Aron variety. And after that, there is Malbec. There is wide varieties, like 2 different muscat, Gewürztraminer. There is Sauvignon Blanc. It's really, really funny to understand how all these varieties finish together.
It's incredible and offers such a unique proposition to Napa Valley. I mean, just, you know, having this vineyard contribute to what we're doing. Oh, I seem to have lost our presentation there. Sorry about that.
So yeah, that's and I have to say we're going to talk more about Petit Syrah. Petit Syrah is a wine. If you want, anybody wants to make wine one day, make Petit Syrah. The thing doesn't need a winemaker. It's like a cat. It does whatever it wants, and it's always good, always full of color, flavors. And what I like about the Petit Syrah, the wine, it's minimal winemaking. It's a few pumping overs, it's short maceration. So it's really the expression of the vineyard, and I like that. It's really and all vines, all winemakers love all vines because they're all just like people. Is all people and all vines the same. They make less but better. So
you know, I've told that joke at some country clubs here and there, and it's gone over well. But I do believe that the vine is more established, more confident. And so
they produce less. They produce less.
Through life.
The quality of the tannins is very refined. The intensity, the aromatic intensity is high, and the tannins are very refined.
I was a restaurant server in my 20s and 30s, and I could work a breakfast, lunch, and dinner shift. Triple shift every day. I can't do that anymore. But
can we talk about the Chardonnay? Because I'm sitting here sipping this, and it is blowing my doors off.
Well,
it is amazing.
Slide. So everybody's gotten this incredible overview of the history, a little bit about the vineyards, and I will certainly let Christophe speak to the sourcing for the Chardonnay because it is not estate sourcing because it's just a little too warm, and you know our acreage is really dedicated more to black grape varietal. So I will let Christophe speak to the multi-vineyard sourcing here for the Chardonnay as we're looking at this map, really good map of Napa Valley. And also, please, I just want to add, if anybody has any questions, like please put them in the Q&A. We want this to be interactive and give you a chance to ask or share anything that you love about the wine. So Christophe, I'll let you take it away with our Chardonnay vineyards, and then a little bit about the Chardonnay as we taste it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, and all the wines I make, my focus, my mindset is show the fruit, show the beauty of the fruits. Don't go too far in any direction. You don't use the fruit to show your ego. You are really here to express the fruit. Not the fruit is not here to express yourself. And it's what I try to achieve with all the wine, and the Chardonnay is the case. And so location is everything. Terroir is everything. So It's around 75% from Carneros, the southern part of the valley, very close to San Pablo Bay, very influenced by cooler weather, lots of fog in the morning, protecting the fruit from heavy heat. And also you can protect even more depending on what you do in your canopy, in the leafing. And so I do minimum leafing. The area of sorry, someone is calling me. Can be hit by the sun, and I try to protect that. And minimum leafing, keep the fruit in the shade. And after that, the second appellation is Ocknall, that we can see the City of Napa in between. The second appellation north of Carneros. So as if Carneros bring minerality, citrus, apple and pear, and Ocknall would bring more very subdued, because we are still on the south, tropical and stone fruit. It can be more complex, but it gives you some ideas of what each appellation can bring to you. And after that, with Chardonnay, you know, there is a lot of different style of Chardonnay. So what do you do with it? So the question is new oak. So we use only 25% new oak. I like this oak because it is what I call polishing a bit the wine, bring a bit more complexity, but I don't want the oak on any of the wine we make to be in your face. So it is behind, it's not in the front. And also I do 25% that is tank fermented. Doesn't see any oak at all, to give us a very fresh component in the blend, and 50% comes in used oak. And the big question also is I pick lots of the reason why I'm going to pick a white wine is defined by acidity. Of course, the aromas are important, but very often for white wine, they are very linked together. And I have a beautiful natural acidity, and I preferred not to make any malolactic fermentation that would decrease this acidity, make it off balance in my opinion, and bring a buttery expression. I enjoy these wines, but it's not the path I am taking, because buttery and malolactic is what I call, it's winemaking. It's not the fruit expression. So I keep more focused on the fruit and no malolactic fermentation. So there is not that many people, there are a few who don't make any malolactic fermentation on Chardonnay, but we have a good number of followers. So I think as long as we can sell everything we make, we're fine.
I love that you don't impose yourself on the fruit. It really is an expression of place and variety, and it really comes through. You're supporting that beautifully, Christophe.
Okay.
It
So,
really
yeah.
comes across in the glass.
Well said, Carrie. And I know you're enjoying a little bit of cheese with this wine.
Yes, well, we have a cheese specialist where I work at Sausalito Mollie Stones. Her name is Chelsea. She'll be guiding a cheese tasting tomorrow. You can go to the Mollie Stones website. It's between 4 and 5 tomorrow. And she suggested a French chèvre, a goat cheese, to go with this, which really elevates the beautiful lemon quality. I get some really nice lemon, and I do get some minerality. And there's something sublime about really pairing a perfect cheese with a wonderful wine. It creates quite the experience. So I do recommend pairing a chèvre with this wine. Really beautiful.
Good acidity. I love white with cheese. I love red, but I love white with cheese. It's undervalued very often, but you need good acidity, because that you need the acidity to fight and to come to match, to pair with the fat, and that can work very, very well.
And that's from suppressing malolactic fermentation, which we can talk about malolactic fermentation and how it affects mouthfeel and flavor, and that ability to pair beautifully, not only with cheese, but a variety of foods. This is an incredibly food-friendly wine. I mean, the levels, I've been sitting here tasting it, and I've gone beyond tasting. I'm drinking it, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It is a gorgeous, beautiful wine. Thank you, Christophe, for making this wine. I love it.
Absolutely.
I make it. I need lots of people to buy it and drink it. So thank you.
Yeah, I will be drinking it. Woo!
I do
I
love
don't make
that.
wine to stay in the cellar. I make wine to go on the table and have friends and have fun with food and joy and lots of laughing, which we miss a lot.
That is the whole point.
Yeah.
I do love that it's such a unique and distinctive Chardonnay for Napa Valley. Probably not what people expect, which I think is great. I speak to so many consumers that say, you know, I'm not a huge Chardonnay fan, but this is just fantastic. And during the summer when we had beautiful summer corn and could eat that with lobster, great. But now that we're saying, you know, kind of moving into autumn and winter months, how beautiful with squash and pumpkin and different vegetables to kind of highlight the fruit and the qualities of this Chardonnay, or just some nice Dungeness crab legs with maybe a little citrus aioli. So perfect.
Absolutely.
And cheese.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the Petit Syrah. My slides are a little sleepy, so I'm just going to have you start to talk about Petit Syrah, Christophe, as I work on advancing slides a little bit.
Yep. So the Petit Syrah, the name Petit Syrah is funny because that's the only thing. Petit is a name. Everything else is big. The vines are pretty on the happy, vigorous side of the different varieties. The clusters can be pretty big sometimes. The berries are big but not gigantic. The leaves are bigger than the Syrah leaves. So everything is big, but they call it Petit Syrah because. I need to try to explain what Petit Syrah is. Maybe people know that, for instance, Cabernet Sauvignon is breeding Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. You breed Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Franc, that becomes Cabernet Sauvignon, a new variety. And the Petit Syrah, it's a breeding of Syrah, so there is some genetic part of Syrah. And another variety nobody knows about because it makes very bad wine, which is Peloursin. And this, as if the Peloursin, I never drank a bottle of Peloursin. I need to look for that actually. But I have been told it's very tannic and not very concentrated and tannic at the same time. So as if Syrah brought the aromas and the Peloursin brought an extra content of tannins and color. And that makes this beautiful. So it's why also they call it Syrah with an I instead of a Y, to differentiate them from the Syrah. I'm not sure it works very well, but they try. And I told you about the story of the property. When the vineyard was planted in the 1880s, we already had Petit Syrah, which was a new variety actually. And our history of Stags Leap and Petit Syrah is from day one. And as I mentioned before, Carl Domani fell in love with the winemaker about this variety. And when you are passionate about something, you get people around you, and you are true when you talk. And they put this variety in the luxury level in California. At the end, we have became, through him, not through me, they became a reference of Petit Syrah in the Napa Valley, and main known producer for that. So it's very simple to make, as I mentioned before, very short maceration. It can be very, very concentrated, so you don't want it to go on to over extract and go rustic. And I think also because of the Naked Emalis block, we talked about the field blend with different varieties. Historically, they have continued that. We use some blenders to maybe, the idea is to soften this wine and make it a bit more elegant. And there is a bit of Syrah, Grenache, and a hint of Mourvèdre and Carignan, which together would be aromatically very close to the Petit Syrah, so it doesn't deviate. It's so strong and difficult to deviate a Petit Syrah from where you want to go. But that softened the mouth and make me a bit more approachable. That's the only wine we use American oak. It was done before I arrived. American oak is stronger than the French oak, and but we put 25%, and it's like pairing food. Strong oak with strong wine, pairing works well. And I think I feel it's make the Petit Syrah even more Petit Syrah because its smokiness and spiciness is really matching very well with the spiciness of the Petit Syrah, which is natural usually. So it works very well. And yeah, it's a king of the steakhouses in America, I would say. I think there is not a lot of steakhouses in America who don't have that. For me, the perfect pairing is a rack of lamb, grilled, salt, pepper, a bit of Mediterranean herbs, and that's all. And the fat and the intensity of the meat, plus the tannins and the intensity of this wine, that's even. That's a perfect pairing. Perfect pairing.
Absolutely. So definitely lovers of wines from the Rhone Valley will enjoy this wine. And is it true, Christophe, that this used to be pretty widely planted in the late 1800s here in California because it's capable of giving you a really dark wine with a lot of flavor?
Yeah, as I was mentioning, someone told me it was used a lot for sweet wine, for port wines also.
Oh.
And, yeah, so what I would love the Napa Valley Association to do a map of animated map that you would see the vineyard growing through the years with the varieties changing. I would like a video they would look, because it's missing for everybody to have.
Nice.
Because we could see the surface planted, we could see the variety changing. I think there's some work to do there, but yeah, I don't have the time for that. It would be historian research, but it would be awesome to see that.
Carrie, what cheese are you enjoying with this Petite Syrah?
Well, first off, another hat tip to Christophe, only using 25% new American oak, because it allows beautiful support of the fruit, but not too much. There's just a little bit. And I love that the fruit really comes through yet again, giving you a sense of place and varietal.
And there's something interesting. So we don't test so many wines today. We have 3, but I am really focused on the south of the valley because it's cooler and I like the aromatic freshness. And but the Petite Syrah is the only wine we source from North Calistoga to Coombsville, which is the southern red appellation. And each of them bring different thing. And what is interesting is the one coming from Calistoga, which is warmer, comes with more floral aromas, a bit less big and more floral aromas. So it's funny that the part of the valley which is warmer brings actually some elegancy to the blend. And 25% of this blend is coming from this estate.
And I want to mention that what Jillian, I paired this, or our cheese specialist, Chelsea, paired this with 12-month Manchego from Spain, which is a sheep cheese. And it supports the fruit and the flavors beautifully. And again, the minerality comes through when you have it with cheese. Again, it is an experience. It's wonderful. It's what this is all about. Again, thank you, Christophe, for making a gorgeous
Thank you for thanking me for making the simplest wine to make in our portfolio.
Simple,
very,
amazing.
Very simple.
He always says it's so easy to make because it's true. It gives you such great color and flavor immediately. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I think it's just such again, like Christophe mentioned, we really have kind of resurrected this variety and brought it back up to the stature and quality levels that it deserves and enjoys here in Napa Valley. And I'm very proud of that fact. And I think it offers, again, a unique proposition to a Rhone grape varietal lover, somebody who really likes that full-bodied, very spicy, lots of black pepper and savory notes. There's so many interesting things going on. And of course, that will only evolve with time. So I've tasted these probably not as far back as Christophe, but back into the 80s that still have this amazing freshness to them, developed into different flavor characteristics, but still really tasting wonderful and true to the varietal. So we're going to taste the Leap next, which is also another phenomenal offering from the winery. I know it's a wine that Christophe really loves and comes from some very specific blocks on the estate, as you can see, as the map is depicting there. But I will hand it over to Christophe to talk to us about the Leap Cabernet Sauvignon from Stags Leap Winery.
Well, that's the essence of who we are, honestly. We make a Napa Valley Cabernet. We have a Merlot also on the estate. All of these estate wine are inspiring all the other wines because I try to have the same identity through all the wines. So it's our soul. We have been here. It has been here for so many years. It's who we are. So if you know of anywhere, you can't know where you go if you don't know where you come from. We go here. So in this way, we know where to go. That helps us. And so even if we talk about Stags Leap AVA, the terroir, actually it's not a uniform terroir, of course. In these 80 acres, we have 5 different types of soil, if not more. And so the block of Cabernet, we have Cabernet, this map is a bit old now. We have Cabernet close to the Naked Malice block also now, and very rocky because there is a little stream there. If you come to Stags, we go above a small bridge. And so this little stream, many years ago, millions of years, brought lots of rocks from the Palisades, and the soil is really good for caviar. And after that, in the middle row, you see there, it's a bit mix of loamy and clayey and a bit rocky. And where it is written the leap, which is not really, I use all of them actually. It's a bit more rocky because there is a bit of a slope there. So I can play also, there is different type of vigor, different type of aromas, pick earlier, pick later. And the leap, now we have a higher cab, but the leap is really the historical essence of who we are. And when I arrived on the property working here, this Cabernet was the wine was a bit unbalanced, very tannic. Guess what? Because the vineyard was a bit unbalanced too. The production was really low, 1.5 ton per acre. Sometimes can be awesome, but that wasn't the case. So we went through lots of compost, some cover crop. Cover crop can help you to devigorate. The cover crop can help you also to rebuild the soil and give some natural low release nitrogen to make the plants so more happy. And it took a few years to get back to a higher crop level, higher meaning 2.5, which is not super high, but at least when you get the balance on the vine back, you get the balance of the wine back. So the tannins soften. It was even more powerful and concentrated than before. More elegant also because before the canopy were very short and not protecting the fruit from the sun. And the fruit got some microclimate. We talked about microclimate of the fruit in the canopy. All of that little by little rebuilt. And that is a fun part for me because I can't make the wine better than the grape can give me. So the only way I have to make better wine is to work in the vineyard with a viticulture to make the fruit better and to make my life easier actually. So I put pressure on them. So this is why my life is better. That's a summary.
And yeah, I have to say, Carrie, you might agree. For such a high percentage of Cabernet Sauvignon in a young wine, there is this real velvety kind of plushness to the tannins and to the texture.
Absolutely. Well, what's amazing is that it's approachable right now. You can drink it right now. It's a 2016 vintage, yet you can have it now. But also, I notice in the closure, I'm really a packaging nerd. This is the cork from the Leap, which is a little bit, I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit longer than the cork from the Petite Syrah, which tells me that this has collecting ability. You could lay this down. You can collect it. It's just, is that your intention, Christophe?
Yes. Normally, we don't expect people to age for 20 years our Chardonnay. Maybe a few people do that, but very little. We expect more people to age for a long time, Leap. And what I tell, nowadays, it wasn't, many years ago, they were fermenting with the stems, and it was very hard, a lot of tannins from the stems themselves, and the wine weren't approachable. We have improved a lot of the cleanness of the wine, and my I think nowadays we can make wine approachable young, and I can age anyway. So what I joke to help you to tell people buy a case and open a bottle every 2 years, and have two pleasure: the pleasure of drinking the wine and pleasure of seeing the wine evolving. If at some point you really like it a lot, drink everything, but one bottle you open 10 years later to see if you made a mistake or not.
So Christophe, when you mentioned stems, so I know tannins are a source of three things. It could be stems, it could be seeds, it could be grape skins. So do you do just berry fermentation? You
Yes, so
destem
berry
everything?
completely. So berry meaning you have tannins from the seeds and the skins. Yeah, I haven't played with stem for Cab and Pinot Noir. They do that. It brings some aromatic interest also to the nose. But maybe other varieties you can do that. But Pinot Noir is really the good example of stem using stems. Yeah.
But stems and cab, can it produce a green astringency, would you say?
Yeah, that would be very old-fashioned Cab and approachable when they are young. And I have to deal already with the maturity of the skin, the maturity of the seeds. I don't want to add, and the pulp, because the pulp itself had the maturity. I don't want to add, I don't know any high-end Cabs right now who use stems in it. It's very rough. It's very rough.
I'm a bit of a nihilist. When I come across a wine this approachable, this beautiful, this elegant, I want to drink it now. Drink it now because you can always make more, right?
That's my job.
Yes. And you're doing a fantastic
But
job.
I have to say, I like personally, I don't like wine when they are too old, because of my work, I like to see the fruit again. I talk the fruit all the time. If the fruit it's too old and the fruit disappears, and usually when you open an old bottle, they are going to wow you if there is still some fresh fruit component in it.
Mhm.
But Christophe, I want to mention that this is not a typical Napa Cab that's flexing its muscles in your face. You really do get a sense of the fruit, and it's beautiful. It reminds me of a muscular ballerina that just dances across your palate. It is absolutely gorgeous, really beautiful, and I think lovers of Bordeaux in particular will really appreciate this wine. But I do want to mention the packaging. If you brought this wine to the table, beautiful packaging. It has this gorgeous deep punt, nice heft to the glass, nice long cork, beautiful label. This is a wine you bring to the dinner table with confidence, both on the presentation and what's inside the bottle. Just it's perfection. It really is.
For sure. And it absolutely, for me, Carrie, speaks to the Stags Leap District. It really captures the qualities, which to me come across in aromatics and texture with this wine. And it's just like you said, it's not bowling you over with oak and tannins and maybe fruit that's a little too ripe. It walks this tightrope of elegance, but power, and really driven, I think, by aromatics and texture. And it's just such a beautiful example of what we can do in the Stags Leap District. I do want to point out to anybody who's on here that the previous two wines had a white label. This has the black label. And that just denotes that we're sourcing the fruit entirely from the estate. Although our Napa Valley tier really does utilize fruit from other estate vineyards, just not the actual Stags Leap Winery estate. So that's just the difference really in the labeling type.
And just a word about the oak and aging. So it ages 20 months and 50% new oak and 50% used oak. And I joke all the time because I pay a fortune, very expensive French barrels for not showing in the wine. But the wine wouldn't be as it is right now with this mouthfeel, these tannins without the oak, even if it doesn't show much.
Who cooperage really matters. It really is the tool in the winemaker's toolbox. What toast level did you do with this?
So there is two things. Toast level is you can have a same toast level from two different coopers that are going to give you very different intensity in the nose. So I buy a result. I'm not a forest focused person as a winemaker. I don't ask this forest or this forest. If they source nowadays lots of coopers, they mix the forest, but what I like is consistency and elegancy and never finishing on the rock. So it has to be there, but really subdued, very behind, and never finish on rock, because that's a miss for the wine. If the last impression you have from the wine is the oak, no, you want the last impression being the wine itself, meaning the fruit. So.
Well, this has been an incredible trio of wines. I
want to mention something about the cheese that would go with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually tasting it right now. Our cheese specialist, she's a certified cheese specialist, Chelsea at Sausalito, paired this with a Fourme d'Ambert, which is a cow cheese. It's a blue cheese from France. So Fourme d'Ambert, gorgeous blue cheese. It pairs beautifully with this. I just have to mention it just because I really love cheese and wine. It's fantastic. Sorry, please. Cheers.
No, I mean,
the decadent way of French eating blue cheese is to add butter.
Add butter. Oh.
to blue cheese.
Yes.
To blue cheese.
And before we close out, I have something to say, but please, Jillian.
No, I just really want to thank everybody who participated tonight in the tasting. I hope that you got a little into the fascinating history of Stags Leap Winery, tasted the amazing wines, and of course you get to hear firsthand from our winemaker, Christophe, who is so passionate about, like Carrie has said many times throughout this tasting, creating these wines of elegance and purity of fruit. And I hope that everybody really enjoyed the tasting, and also additionally pick up some of these wines, have them on your holiday table. We love your support. We want to welcome you to the winery in the future when travel picks up again. We would love to see you. It's such a unique property and really fantastic. Christophe is walking around there all the time, so you might get a glimpse of him too. But come and enjoy some of the wines in Napa Valley with us, and just want to wish everybody very happy holidays, surrounded by loved ones, and hopefully enjoying.
There was two questions. I can see there is two questions in the Q&A. Did we reply?
Well, one said, can we get to the wines? So obviously they wanted to.
Hopefully.
And the other was, does this wine remind you of any French wine growing area? But that was
the Chardonnay. And I think that had to do with, I believe this is Burgundian in style, the Chardonnay. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
So that's the thing. I never make any copy. I never make any wine with a result in mind. I just express. So same for the Cabernet. I don't try to make a copy of Bordeaux of any kind. I just express the fruit with the French winemaking culture, I would say, but I don't try to make any copy ever.
Okay, great. Okay, Barbara just asked a fantastic question. As an appreciation for joining today's tasting, we're offering 20% off of the wines we presented today. They're now available. I hope you have a pen and paper or a really good memory. catering.molliestones.com. Select virtual events to order what you want and set a time to pick them up at your favorite Mollie Stones location. I'm in Sausalito, just so you know. And there's a promo code. So this is the important part. The promo code is LEAP, LEAP, So again, go to catering.molliestones.com for 20% off of these absolutely fantastic wines. I thoroughly enjoyed them from head to toe. Fantastic wines. I just really love that it gives me a sense of place. It's varietally correct. For Napa, you think that these could be big, heavy wines. These are gorgeous, approachable, food-friendly wines, great on holiday tables. So please come shop with us at Mollie Stone's. We're ready for you.
Yay.
We'd love to see you. And thank you so much, Jillian and Christophe. This has been a fantastic tasting. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for having
Carrie.
us.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for thanks everybody at the on the Mollie Stones team for putting this together. Hopefully we engaged with some customers, and I think that once you taste these wines and get a little glimpse into the history and the property, you really do become Stags Leap Winery ambassadors for life. At least I know that you are, Carrie, so that's good. That makes me happy.
Yay. Oh, I really want to add really quick, our 20% offer expires at 9 p.m. tonight. So this is a very short window. It's a great opportunity to score 3 fantastic wines at 20% off. So it ends at 9 p.m. tonight. So
Excellent.
just adding that.
Yeah, and I'm seeing in the chat, can we buy more wine? Can we buy more wine? Love that. Thank you so much. And happy holidays to everyone.
All right, cheers. Carpe
Cheers.
Uvum, seize the grape.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you, Christophe.
Bye.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Jillian.